Okay, so this is our PA video. This is just going to be a really rudimentary look at a rehearsal style PA, okay, which is called public address system. So this is our, fabulous PV we've got here, and I'll just talk to you about really the simple things that you're going to find on a PA. First you're going to, well, let's start with the microphone, shall we? Okay, so here's our microphone, and we've got some nice affiliates for some good gear for you. This one is a great microphone. You'll always love these microphones. They're Shure 50, they're called Shure 58s, SM58s. Everyone loves them because they're really good for rock and roll. They're really hardy. You can't kill them. I've seen guys put them in their mouths. Not that you want to do that, but they survive. They just start to smell a bit after a while, you know. And the reason why I say get a good microphone is because it's really important to get the best vocal sound that you can, okay? And this will give you a good quality. Like, you can save 20 or 30 bucks and get a crappy microphone, but it will feed back in your PA system in your rehearsal room. It won't give you a good balance of frequencies just because it's not a very good mic, so you're already down. And vocalists in a rehearsal space like this, or the one that you're probably going to be practicing in, vocalists need the most help. Everyone else can turn up and be as loud as hell, but not vocalists, because they're dealing with a thing called feedback, which is, I'll show you. Let's see. Let's see if we can get our feedback going. Hear that? Now, it's probably going to sound, that sound is probably what you're going to hear the most of, which is feedback. And why that occurs is that you've got your microphone here, and it's an open sound. It's actually just listening to everything in the room, right? So, you've got all this noise bouncing around in here, you've got your voice coming out of these speakers, you've got guitar players and everything, and what happens is, it feeds in here, and comes out the speakers again, and feeds in again, and it turns into a closed loop of sound. And that's why it's called feedback. Deep thoughts. Okay, so feedback is going to be your problem with microphones. The more microphones you have open in a small rehearsal space, the more problems you're going to have with feedback, and the key is to do things so that you don't have that problem, okay? And now we're just going to work through that idea with you. First thing is a good mic. Why? Because this has a design that rejects the sound coming into it from these areas and only accepts sound coming right at it from here. And what it's called is a polarized rejection pattern. That's soundmen talk. So that you'll notice that if you sing at it this way, it won't work very well. And the reason is, it's rejecting all the sound from the room coming from that area and just accepting the sound coming from here. This is why you need what they call a dynamic microphone. Not an omnidirectional condenser microphone, which picks up everything from all areas, and like the mic that we're using to record this is an omnidirectional condenser. Anyway, so you need a good mic that rejects sound. Shure 58. I love them. Okay, so then we've got our stand, we've got our plug, and it plugs into our PA head. Now they come in all shapes and sizes, but they're all going to have kind of the basic kind of idea. Here's what we have: is we have different channels, and you can put different things into it. Okay, so you've got one microphone going in here, another microphone going in here. You might want to have your keyboard signal coming in here, maybe even your bass. I don't know. It just depends on your setup. Okay. And they're called channels, and then all those channels go into one main channel, and you can turn the whole thing up and down, okay? And then on each channel, you'll have a volume knob, it's called gain on this. You'll have a treble and bass, or some sort of EQ, equalization, and then more often than not, you'll have an effect, okay? And then you'll have that on each individual channel, and then you'll have your main ones over here. You can find more about this stuff with the affiliates when you buy this kind of equipment. Sound guys at at stores and things will help you with this kind of stuff. but we'll just keep it simple, okay? So you've got your volume on this one microphone here, and then the main volume over here. Now here's another really important piece of equipment or occurrence. More often than not, your PA is going to have an equalizer. And you go, wow, what's that going to be used for? Well, mainly for you, it's going to help you with the feedback problem, okay? So I'm going to turn up my PA, and there it is. I've got my sound. Now, I've got a lot of reverb on there at the moment. There, I've turned it off. You see how this is a nice intimate sound, and that's fine. But one thing I've found is that if you've got a nice reverb sound, there, hello, you sound really big, a vocalist is going to sing better. They're going to sound better because they sound better to themselves. And the better that you sound to yourself, the better you're going to perform, because you'll be having fun. You'll sound great. Wow, oh my God, I sound like I'm in a huge room. Well, now I'm singing to a huge audience. And all of a sudden what happens is, your music changes. You'll start thinking, oh, this song can fit in a huge room. And then, with that idea in mind, you're going to start writing bigger songs. Instead of these squished in songs from a little room, all of a sudden you're going to feel like you're in a big open room, and you can visualize yourself on stage performing them, okay? All that with the touch of a reverb button. Can you imagine? How simple, you know? And it's surprisingly simple what you can do. Because I sound like I'm in a cathedral now. Okay, so you're going to want a bit, not a lot. And then, what was that? There's our feedback. Oh man, don't you hate it? Okay, so this is why we use our EQ, okay? So I want to be nice and loud because my vocals need to be nice and loud to compete with everyone else in the room. Yep. And then, now I go to my EQ and I do what's called squealing. Watch your ears. You can get equipment that actually do this automatically for you, but we're still just simple stuff, okay? And there, look, I've gone to this frequency and I've turned it up, and there I've listened to it, up, and see where it was feeding back there? And now I turn that one down. Now I go to this one. Oh, that was the main one that was feeding back. Oh, so now if I turn that one down, and that one down, sorry, and that one down, then all of a sudden, I've got a better sound. I don't know if you can tell with this little microphone, but now my sound is better because I don't have feedback, number one, and number two, what I've actually done is taken away the over-amplified frequencies that exist in this space because of the size of the room. And we talked about standing waves a little bit earlier. There's a wave that gets produced in a mathematical relationship to the distance between the floor and the ceiling and all that, and they're called standing waves. And those are the ones that are going to feed back because they're louder than everything else. That's what makes it sound like you're in a room, are those extra standing waves. So now that we've gone to our EQ and taken away some of those extra frequencies, now my voice sounds really good in this room. And now all of a sudden, what? I've got a great vocal PA. And now my band's going to sound really good. Now, we can also talk about compression as well. We could put a little compression on the vocals, but to my experience, you know, for the most part, you don't really necessarily use that much when you're practicing because you want to be as dynamic and big and open as you can with vocals. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. When we go to performing, absolutely, because you're going to be putting a loud vocal sound out in front of the band. But just in this space at the moment, I think we don't really need to necessarily worry about compression. And the other thing we haven't talked about, which we might just finish off doing, is talking about our monitors. So after this, on the other side of it, we've got our plugged-in speakers, okay? Okay, so I'm just taking a quick shot of our monitors on the floor, This is some old-looking monitors with spider webs on them. Sorry about that. But you see how I've set them up to face me, and that's what you'll be doing. Once we get we'll get our musicians in here, and when we start jamming, we're going to look at our setup a little better. This is just our rudimentary setup, but you'll be facing these speakers will be facing you. Okay, so they're just floor monitors, and we'll have some nice affiliates where you can buy monitors. They're not like regular speakers. They're built to be on the floor facing you. They're different than regular, what we call front of house speakers.